So, I'm well aware how gloomy it sounds the last video, and the reality is a bit gloomy and gloom and doom and negative Nancy type of esque thing. But the reality is that with the downs, it comes an up. And like I said at the end, there's always a positive side to negative things, and one of them is character growth. And I think we should talk about it. So, yeah, let's get into it. So, like I said in the beginning, I'm sorry, I'm gonna rearrange this. There, a little bit better, a little bit. It's not perfect, okay? Nothing is perfect. Like I said, from everything negative, it comes something very positive, which is character growth. And if there's anything positive I can take from all of this, it's life experience. I may have lost money, time, and energy, but I have gained an amount of experience. Just like when I'm always complaining about my time in politics, I'm always dwelling on that. But the reality is that I gain an amount of life experience that I could have never earned on my own. Because that's the thing, we are creatures of hardship. We grow in hardship. And I'm not very fond of hardships, but the one thing I have to admit that it's really positive out of them is that every time you go through them, if you have the right attitude, you can actually grow from them. You can just, like, center back, go back to yourself and tell yourself, what can I learn from this? And to be honest, the good thing that this job had is that it teaches me a lot of things, from teaching children with special conditions and disabilities, something I would have normally taken a little while to see, because from one case to another, I have seen like 5 in just one afternoon. It has come with humongous amount of experience, both professionally, emotionally, psychologically, spiritually, financially, about myself, about the human condition, about others, about observing others, but also about myself and of what I'm capable of and what people is capable of as well. And if there is anything we should always appreciate about hardships, is how much they help us grow. And that's something we should never take for granted, you see. That's the one thing that is actually worth it at all, is that at the end of the day, through hardship, we grow. And we grow a character, we grow a spine, we grow a thicker layer in our skin, and that makes us stronger. And yes, we can complain and dwell for a little while, but please, do not dwell for too long. Don't be pathetic. That will make you mediocre. The best thing you can do is to just reevaluate the whole situation and say, okay, what can I learn from this? Look from a bird's eye view and say, what can I learn from this? What have I learned from this situation? And what can I take as a valuable thing from all of this? What have I learned about myself and others? And you will see that though the situation might be regrettable, you can still get really good things from it. That's why people, it's like, oh, but what's the point of marriage? I had one student on the other day. What's the point of marriage with how everything is complicated and divorce and everything? But the thing is, first, your thinking is going to fail from the get-go. Not a good attitude. It will make you fail. Second, if it does fail and goes into flames, burns down in flames, then you will learn a lot about yourself and others. And as long as you're always learning from your hardship, every single one of them is going to be worth it. Because at the end of the day, you're going to be wiser, stronger, and it's going to prevent you from making mistakes. And if your kids in future are kind enough to listen, because I was the kind of kid I would listen to the elders, too much sometimes. But I would listen to everyone and I would learn from their experiences as well. And he helped me through so much. If you are actually the kind of people who listen to their elders, you will be able to gather information and observe things from around you long before you make the mistakes. So you will have to suffer so less. You reduce the amount of suffering you have to go through before actually getting into the wall. I've always said when I was a kid and I was already saying this. And why a smart man goes running into a wall and hits against it and it's just like, ow, and learns from it and never does it again. A dumb man keeps banging himself against the wall, but a wise man stands right next to the wall and observes everyone else what they're doing. And as soon as someone hits the wall, it's just like, ow! You just don't run into it. You're just like, oh, it hurts. I will not do that. And I'm not saying I'm wise, because that's a problem. If you think of yourself as wise, it would immediately prevent you from learning. And the reality is that we are here to learn and to teach to others. To learn in ourselves, in our own flesh and blood, what we should do and what should not do. And I'm sorry about my English, I'm a bit in a hurry. And a bit tired too. I'm so tired. There's so much going on. I'm so much tired. I'm so sorry. But the reality is that if there is anything you could take from this, when you experience hardship, because it is unavoidable, it doesn't really matter if you marry, you do not marry, if you work with people, if you do not work with people, one way or another, you will suffer because you're human. And it's an inherent part of our human condition. Those who do not suffer go through an existential crisis and they complain about Starbucks. Okay? About the Starbucks order not being perfect. Okay? So, suffering, it's an integral part of our condition. We cannot avoid it. No matter what you do, you will suffer. So what you do with it is going to be the determining factor on how you grow old. You're going to do things you may regret, yes or no. You're going to be in control of your emotions, yes or not. Are you going to learn from your mistakes and the mistakes of others, yes or not? Are you going to take wisdom or just bad feelings like regret, shame, and anger and spitefulness? Are you going to become spiteful little bitch? Or are you going to stand up, go back into the horse and just like, fuck you, leave the fuck out. Leave with the wisdom on your horse, not with you spitting at everyone else. It's just what you do in the moments of stress is what defines you as a human being. And to be honest, to me, the best approach you could ever take is not only the less aggressive approach, but more importantly, the one in which you allow yourself to learn from everything that's going around you and from yourself, and to take wisdom, at least, out of it. And if you're not the one going through these hardships, please observe around you. Be observant of those around you. And if you see your friend, your colleagues, your family going through something, take their wisdom. Don't be over dramatic about it, because I have seen people saying, oh, I don't want to, once again with marriage, I don't want to marry because I have seen my parents and they're horrible. Okay, that's an extreme, that's not wisdom, that's a reaction. You're reacting to pain and to the collective pain of your ancestors. That's not action, that's not wisdom, that's just trauma. And okay, if you want to do that, sure. But the thing is, if that was the case, then you, according to your parents, it should have worked because their parents were married and they were well. So the collective experience before you may not be the reality case by case. So yeah, always try to be more granular about it and not to take things religiously. Because taking things religiously, it means you're being emotional, not intellectual about it. And there are certain points in which you should put a boundary to even to your own feelings. and say, you know what, I'm probably overreacting, I'm probably being too close down, too narrow down. Okay. The problem is, oh, that's the thing, because I got myself into this trouble for not listening. I was like, probably I'm being too dramatic, and once again, I didn't listen enough to my gut feeling. I did listen, but I kind of allow it to just unfold. And I didn't take certain actions knowing that I might need to leave on the rush. So yeah, it might seem like I didn't, but I did listen to my gut feeling. And but I kind of left like, okay, I'm gonna leave you to see if you can explain yourself and your attitude, and to see how you can improve this. And they did not improve it. They got it worse and worse and worse. And the thing is, even from this, I can learn about myself and my relationship to my gut feelings. And how sometimes, because that's the thing, there's so much learning and thinking to do. And the learning is never over. You learn to the last moment, even how to die. It's just, there's so much to process. So little time in this earth. So yeah, if you can take anything useful out of this, if you're going through hardship, study it, learn from it, get up from it, and this too shall pass. And if you're not going through hardship, but you're seeing people around you who are indeed in hardship, well, this too shall pass. Try to comfort them in their grief, but above all else, learn from their mistakes. That way, you can save yourself and spare yourself from the pain of going through the same experience. But at least, maybe not going into extremes about it, not just saying, oh, I will never marry just because I've seen horrible experience about it. No, maybe be more granular and evaluate. How can I be a better judge of character? So if I do marry one day, I will be better at selecting who, with whom, and with whom, with whom. You know what I mean, right? I think that would be the greatest lesson I could ever give you. Trust yourself, study your environment and your circumstances. I'm so sorry for whatever you're going through. And whenever you go through anything, at the very least you can take these lessons. So yeah, I hope you're doing great and that you're not going through anything you should be regretful, remorseful about. And until next time, I wish you nothing more the best. And yeah, until next time, bye bye.